can I make it to 2 top-level English football matches in one day? Welcome back, it's match day. I'm here at the Riverside Stadium, and as you can see behind me, the flares are going off. Middlesbrough welcoming their team bus here for their playoff first leg against Southampton. What a scene it is out here. A red mist with flares as well in the background. Unbelievable. Time since Middlesbrough were in the Premier League. They've got a chance this season, and look at the scene we've got behind me now. Unbelievable. Plenty of police presence as well, it must be said. But now we're going to get ourselves into the ground. It's probably worked out. I'm here at the Riverside Stadium for Middlesbrough against Southampton in the playoff semi-final first leg. But then, well, this game's at 12:30, but then 3 o'clock, Sunderland take on Manchester United. Now, I'm really no illusions that I've been given press conferences that I'm going to get back to Sunderland for 3 o'clock kickoff, but I do hope that I'll be there for probably around about the start of the second half, and then the press conferences at Sunderland as well. So it should be a very busy day, but one that should be also very enjoyable. Anyway, for now, let's get inside in Middlesbrough, in the Riverside, and see how this first leg goes. What an awful day weather-wise for me, but here we are now at the Stadium of Light. We have made it. The second half has just got underway, which is as I planned. And we'll be in shortly to see probably the last sort of 30-40 minutes, and then the press conference is there as well. What a day. I thought I'd finish this vlog a couple of days later. It's Wednesday now, and of course we had the second leg at St Mary's of the playoff semi-final last night. Sunderland, of course, they got their 0-0 draw. You know, wasn't a great game in the end, or it's what I saw of it. There was a few chances towards the end, but the Middlesbrough game at the Riverside was a better 0-0, as 0-0s go. But I thought I'd wait until the second leg occurred to finish this vlog. And obviously Middlesbrough lost at St Mary's, you'll all be aware, 2-1. And so as things stand, it's Southampton going to Wembley. But of course we still don't know the situation with the Spygate investigation outcome. There could be a verdict soon. Is time going to be on Southampton's side? We just don't know yet. We don't know. I'd like to give some credit to Kim Hellberg and the way he's handled himself recently. Obviously, he was very emotional in the press conference last night. I wasn't there at St Mary's, but from what I've seen and read, and then of course Tonda Eckert's
asked, are you a cheat, straight up, which I think is a completely valid question, because Hellberg had described what he thought Southampton had done as cheating. Therefore, it's a completely valid question. Are you a cheat? You know, credit to my friend in the Northern Echo, Dom Shaw, who asked the question. So, and of course, you know, it was seen as to what happened at the Riverside when they walked out the press conference then, and then they walked out again after this question at St Mary's, with the Southampton press officer saying, show some respect, which, especially if they are guilty, which we don't know yet, obviously, would be very ironic. So yeah, it's been a really interesting couple of days with all of that. Of course, the game last night at moments boiled and bubbled over with emotion and tension. Obviously, Southampton probably deserved to win last night's game. Boro obviously deserved to win at the Riverside in that game. So realistically, probably a penalty shootout might have been a fair outcome. Reduce it to that. I don't ever like to say penalties are a lottery, because I think you can practice for penalties. I think there is a psychology and a science to it. But it is what it is. We still don't know the outcome, obviously, as to what will happen next. But I just wanted to wait to see what would happen in that match, and following that in the subsequent press briefings, etc. I just think it's a really interesting situation. I mean, I have my own views on it. I think if Southampton are found guilty, and it's a case where it's come from the top as well, you know, maybe managers knew about it, or the members of staff knew about it, or had planned it, I think they should face, I should say, a harsh penalty. I don't think a fine's enough in that regard. I know people will say, well, Leeds only got a fine a few years ago in 2019, but there was no rule then. Well, there was a rule to the point where it wasn't a rule that directly engaged with that sort of activity, and so there couldn't be a proper sanction imposed as a result. But because of that incident, there was a rule put in, which Southampton have breached, well, will have breached if they are found guilty. So I think in that regard, it has to be a harsher penalty. Middlesbrough will certainly look for a sporting sanction. Obviously, then, though, the time issue comes in, Southampton conducting their own internal investigation, perhaps trying to delay. Obviously, we don't know what the evidence is exactly. Obviously, we know what happened roughly at the training ground at Middlesbrough at Rockcliffe, but perhaps is there more to it? Do other clubs come forward with their own evidence? We just don't know at this point. So it remains to be seen, and can it be done quickly enough to change the outcome of a playoff game? Now, people say, oh, you know, they'll let them be thrown out, but playoff outcomes have been changed in the past. There is a notable example in the 1990s of Swindon winning the playoffs, but then not going up because of financial irregularities, and then Sunderland, who I believe were the beaten finalists at Wembley, went up as a result. So things can change. That's not to say it will, of course, but it's not to say it hasn't happened before where results have been changed. So I think there's still all options on the table. It just depends on the verdict and how quickly it takes place as well. And does it happen soon enough to change what happens at Wembley, or, you know, to Boro end up at Wembley? We just don't know yet. We don't know. I have my own views in terms of what should happen if they are found guilty, but perhaps we'll leave that for another day, depending on, I mean, no doubt I'll be doing stories, and everyone else will be doing stories, depending on when the verdict comes out and what the verdict is, and then what the subsequent punishment is as well, if there is to be one. So yeah, that is all to come. But I thought I'd wait to give him sort of my thoughts at this point as to what's happened. Of course, I could also go into the alleged discriminatory language used by Taylor Howard-Bellis towards Luke Ayling. That's another matter entirely, but again, that'll probably be investigated as well. So I don't want to comment too much on that until we know exactly what has happened. But it's just a lot happened on that night, didn't it, at St Mary's? And of course, not just at St Mary's, but of course preceding that as well. The Sunderland game, that I know this vlog was sort of, and probably I'll probably entitle it, you know, trying to get to 2 top-level English football matches in one day, and I did do that in the end. Albeit I saw mostly only the second half of the Sunderland game, but it has sort of all been overshadowed, all the football, as to what's happened with this Middlesbrough-Southampton ordeal. But we'll leave it there, and we'll see what happens. For now, Southampton going to Wembley, Middlesbrough staying in the Championship. Sunderland getting that draw against Manchester United, 2 games to go in the Premier League. But we shall see. And we'll see you next time. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.